damn it. No, I do not look like Leo from Geek Legion of Doom, people.
Mwah! That's what I think of this movie, Chef's Kiss. We are talking Black Box, Flight 298, directed by Quale. And this is why I like doing this channel, folks. Every so often you get an absolute banger that you've never heard of. And this is one of those films. So, also known as simply Black Box. It's a science fiction horror-ish movie, I would suggest. And I went into this knowing absolutely nothing. I was sent a screener for this and didn't watch the trailer, didn't read the synopsis. Just kind of saw it was a sci-fi movie. And it added to the fun, I guess. I saw the poster, but that was basically it. So I'm going to keep this synopsis vague to hopefully encourage you to watch it, but also, you know, keep the good stuff hidden. Alright, so this focuses on an aeroplane, as you can probably guess, that is going on a particular flight. And we see that there's some stats at the beginning saying that there's an alarming number of planes that kind of lose contact but that aren't reported. I don't know if that's made up for this movie, but whatever. Anyway, so we kind of are introduced to the various passengers on this kind of flight, and we kind of get to know some of them. And during the flight, there seems to be some type of disturbance. And we see that there's something going on, both internally on the plane, but also externally, seemingly in the skies. And again, being as vague as I can, on the plane it seems to be there could be some type of outbreak kind of going on, some type of illness. But outside the plane there might well be lights in the sky, mysterious kind of shapes in the clouds that only a couple of people have witnessed. And you know, the cover here might be giving you an idea about maybe what's going on. It could be some type of alien situation. Let's just call it that. Alright, what will happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So, that's all I'm giving you with a plot on this one. What did I think works in this movie's favour? Now, let's deal with the kind of the technical stuff. This to me, I mean, it's not a high budget movie. There's no kind of recognisable actors in this. But I did think it had a kind of a decent level of production. But it's clearly not a high budget movie. And it does show here and there. But I gotta say, I appreciated the kind of the level of the production value that we did get for clearly not a high budget movie. Because I do think it looks like a solid movie in regards to production. I thought the actual direction here was solid, because the movie's in no rush to kind of reveal what's kind of going on, and I think this is the best way to enjoy this movie. It's to kind of go in and be in the kind of the conspiracy, if you like, with our passengers, what is actually kind of going on. And the movie takes its time kind of revealing it. You know, what is the kind of the situation here? And as the film progresses on its runtime, you'll learn, you know, more and more about what's kind of going on. And as the film goes through its runtime, you'll learn the more insidious it actually could all end up being. So I thought it was really good. There was a confidence here in the direction to let the kind of the runtime cook, give the kind of the tension time to grow, and you know, have this kind of feeling of mystery. It almost reminds me a little bit of kind of like when you watch the kind of the initial few episodes of like a TV series like Lost. That kind of like, oh, what's kind of going on? I mean, it kind of lost its way after a while, but those initial things, if you can condense it into the length of a film, that initial kind of like, oh my god, what is the mystery? I thought was incredibly solid. And I think also it's helped by a decent cast. Everyone here, as I say, not a well-known actor, I would say, for the most part. Mostly kind of character actors and stuff like that. Everyone here does a decent enough job, though. Everyone, I think, does, you know, makes solid characters who you can kind of either root for, or you're kind of like, boo, he's clearly a douche, and all the rest of it. But they all do a decent job of making believable characters where you can kind of empathise with their situation. As the film kind of progresses, where this film ends up, it's a beautiful thing. And again, I don't want to spoil it for you, but you can kind of like how it ends, in regards, certainly with one character in particular, you're thinking, oh man, it really kind of shines a light differently on maybe how you would perceive people, and kind of like, and maybe what they would be saying and things like this. Excellent. Excellent. And it gives you a really sort of like nihilistic, paranoia-filled thrill ride of a movie. I love the ending. I thought it was brilliant. Really good. It's nice to see a film stick the landing and then kind of leave you with like, oh, damn, you know, at the end of this movie. Yeah. So, you know, I thought that was all sort of pretty good. The stakes raised through the movie as well. As I say, as the film goes on, there's a variety of, should we call it, threats that kind of present themselves. And as the film goes on, it sort of, the more and more seems kind of apparent. But they wisely kind of give, even though the mountain seems insurmountable in some respects, the kind of the threat here seems so vast. How could our protagonists overcome it? They still give you a kind of like a hope that there is something that can, you know, maybe there's like a way out of this for at least some people. And I always think, you know, I've criticised movies before where if there's no hope of any type of, you know, positive outcome for protagonists, it kind of feels like pointless watching it. But here you know, you have it, slight as it is. I thought it was very good. I think if you are a fan of more overt science fiction horror elements, there is a degree of that towards the end of the movie. Kind of the last act, I thought that was pretty fun. So you have some good VFX work in regards to sort of spectacle and stuff like that. That I think is kind of quite fun, quite sort of fun science fiction elements, but with a kind of a horror edge. And overall, I just thought this movie's story was incredibly good. I really, really enjoyed it. Watching as many films as I do for this channel, you get a bit jaded, you know, you kind of like, it's hard to kind of keep you engaged. But this one totally had me locked in, so I got to say, I really enjoyed it. Can I say anything negative about this movie? I have to say, I think some of the characters err on a little bit of the cliche side. You know, we've got the total douche guy, you know, who's just rude to everyone, and he's like, you know, okay, well, he's clearly something's going to happen to him. You know, you got the little girl, all the rest of it. So there is some sort of like, some of our characters are on the kind of the cliche side in regards to their kind of setup. So there's that. The movie isn't mega budget, and as such, some of the VFX on occasion, the CGI is a little bit, you know, hit and miss. Some of the time it's fine. Some of the time it's absolutely fine. But there are occasions here where you think, if only this had a little bit more budget, it could have just looked a little bit kind of crisper and sort of stuff like that. And I would say, maybe the only other thing I would say, when it's all said and done, maybe you've got to have a degree of suspension of disbelief. But if you can have that, I think this is a fantastic film to kind of watch. If you like a good sci-fi thriller, I would definitely check this out. This is a strong movie. I really enjoyed it, and you know, there's questions to be said. I would have liked to have a little bit more at the end, because there's something that happens in the movie which would suggest that there is potential to go further with it. But maybe they're setting it for a sequel. Who knows? I'll give it an 8 out of 10. This was a solid science fiction movie, highly recommended. Well and truly probably in there for the top 10 of the year so far. What were your thoughts? If you've seen it, please do let me know, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.